Good afternoon. I'm Jan Mull, Deputy Director of Competitive Events for HOSA Future Health Professionals, and today I'm going to spend a little time talking about professionalism in the healthcare setting. I had the opportunity to teach many students in the clinical setting, and one of the things I found was it was really important for them to discover what qualities indicate a professional. So one of the first things I did with students is I divided them into groups, and then I gave them a sheet of flip chart paper, and in those groups they listed all of the professional qualities that they could think of. And then I had the groups come together and share their list, and we compiled a complete list from all the groups. And it was always really interesting to me how many they were able to cover when they worked together on those. Professionalism itself is really hard to define. It's not one single thing. What we're asking of our students is a lot for their age. We're expecting them to conduct themselves with responsibility, integrity, accountability, and excellence. But you and I both know that one student who doesn't meet the requirements of the clinical setting that they're in could be a loss of that clinical setting. So I really encourage the students to always find a way to be productive. This is a great opportunity for them to establish some autonomy in the learning process and ownership of the learning process. A lot of times I kind of felt like students expected the staff that was there to entertain them, and that was not at all what the role was, and we talked a lot about that. Some of the students that I had were very self-confident, and I could tell that they thought the things we were going over was not something that they needed. I found those very confident students oftentimes were really kind of frozen when it came to the first day of clinicals. So one of the things I started doing was having them list the ways they could make a good first impression. We did this individually, and then I sat down with them and we went over their list. Again, just so they knew what was expected of them and how they could handle it when they first went into the clinical setting. Because really what we're talking about are soft skills. And soft skills, I think, are pretty difficult for our students. But I found a really great resource that I used with students. It comes from the Tennessee Department of Labor, and it has a series of lesson plans and activities for high school students. It's free of charge. I've included the link there so you can view the entire document. It's 142 pages. And I wanted to share a sample activity with you. This activity helps the students see that not everybody is successful their first try. And so what we're asking them to do is name the famous American that's being described. So let's talk about 6 of these. The first one is someone who was defeated 7 times while running for political office. Second, a cartoonist that was told by the editor of a newspaper, "It's easy to see from your sketches you have no talent." The third, an author whose first children's book was rejected by 23 different publishers. Number 4, someone who was fired after their first performance at the Grand Ole Opry. Number 5, someone who was cut from the varsity basketball team their sophomore year. And number 6, an inventor who was kicked out of school. So I would read those descriptions and let them try to answer. The first one, who ran for office 7 times unsuccessfully, was Abraham Lincoln. Walt Disney was told by the newspaper editor that he had no talent. Dr. Seuss's first book was rejected 23 times. Elvis was fired after his first night on the Grand Ole Opry. Michael Jordan was cut from his varsity basketball team as a sophomore. And Thomas Edison was kicked out of school. A lot of activities in there that you can use. Some of them talking about teamwork. There's just a variety of different soft skill activities that I found really helpful for my students. They also have a series of 6 videos that are available on their website. You can watch the synopsis of It goes through, it's like a minute and a half. They're really brief, but they're made specifically for students, high school students, and they really are effective and meet them where they are. So I really liked using those. The HOSA connection for this can be for middle school health career preparation, interviewing skills, or job seeking skills. And on the lesson plan, I've included a link to the rubric. One of the things that you may have noticed is job seeking skills changed this year. Students are expected to write a resume and a personal statement. And the personal statement will come in really handy as they're seeking scholarship opportunities and writing those letters for with applications to colleges. So hopefully this is helpful in preparing those students for that clinical setting. Thank you for your time.